Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. We are live today from our studios here on the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. On today's show, is the gap closing this end? We got everything on the House and the Senate. The Georgia runoff, Trump's preparation, Steve King's poll, and there's now 1 day to go. George Soros representative is saying Fox News will not let him on air to rebut the guest conspiracy theories. Apparently, the Florida race against Ron DeSantis and Andrew Gillum is cotton picking important. And what if the Democrats lose? We ponder the unthinkable the day before the midterms. And is there any hope left? Well, we'll see when we get to that story. All right. Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough if the Democrats lose Tuesday, or at least fail to maintain the House anyway. So I think the 2018 campaign will be over after Tuesday from all the ballots are counted. Think again, because some Democrats now believe Georgia's governor's race is destined to go to a December 4th runoff because neither Stacey Abrams nor Brian Kemp, the Republicans, likely to capture the majority of the vote. And very interesting situation there. The race is that close in the private polling, and while Kemp does enjoy a slight advantage in the GOP surveys, the Libertarian on the ballot, Ted Metz, could take about 2% of the vote, and right now it's pretty much a dead heat. The Libertarian nominee earned 2.36% of the vote in 2014 for the gubernatorial race, and yeah, it's going to be very tough if they. It's going to be very tough to really distinguish, and even if she does win by a little bit, it's going to have to go down the runoff. It's kind of like almost a foreign election type primary. So if one person doesn't get the majority, if one person doesn't sufficiently finish them off, I guess you could say, they have to. They pretty much have to go on to the next one. That's pretty much how it works. So, if you're over the new inquiry we talked about, go check out Red Alert. Because Red Alert, if you want to know more about this Georgia governor's race, we did a whole episode, Red Alert, on it today. It was really, the furor is mounting there over the new inquiry by Brian Kemp's office as the Georgia Secretary of State, as he's now inquiring against the Georgia Democratic Party, and it really threw a curveball on the final day of the race. That's what they were obviously intending to do. So pretty much what happened was Brian Kemp's office as Secretary of State of Georgia all of a sudden just decided to, with no evidence, just 2 days before the election, and this happened yesterday, announce a random inquiry. Just pretty much throw it out there as a random inquiry with no evidence. That Stacey Abrams and the Democratic Party had, hacked the voter base or something. You can't see that, how that's corrupt at all. That seems just totally ethical. It seems totally real. During New York Times upshot, Siena College polls wrapped up Sunday on bellwether races, and they are very, very close. In Kentucky, where polls close at 6 p.m., Eastern Representative Andy Barr, a Republican, Amy McGrath, a Democratic nominee, are tied right now at 44%, so neither of them too incredibly popular. In Virginia, where polls close at 7 p.m., Representative Dave Bratt at Republicans narrowly ahead of his Democratic challenger, Abigail Spanberger, as the poll now has a margin of error sampling the plus or minus 4.6 percentage points, so it could be definitely. That's the problem with these polls. It's a large margin of error, and 2-point difference here, 46 to 44 between Bratt and Spanberger. So, yeah, pretty much all those polls are wrapping up. And from the in Virginia, polls close at 7 p.m. there. In Representative Steve King's runs for Iowa, the Times and Siena poll completed Sunday found that King had a 5-point lead over Democrat J.D. Scholten. The margin of sampling error was plus or minus 5 points, however, as King has usually cruised to a re-election, but his history of racist remarks, a recent interview to a publication associated with neo-Nazis, and a rebuke from a Republican Party leader have really complicated his race, and that makes a lot of sense, because boy, should they complicate his race, because this dude is crazy, and he should not be in the House of Reps. He should not be in a position of power. He should be backwoods in the sticks, hey there. What's going on? We can't make our culture great with other people's babies. You know what I'm saying? Should not be in the House. No. It's a bad idea. I personally have a relatively good feeling that J.D. Scholten will win, but I just cannot be sure. Boy, can I not be sure. 2 months of the Times Siena College polling concluded Sunday night, 96 polls in all, which was pretty incredible. And they do live polling. They show you as it's happening, what's happening. So you can check them out at thenewyorktimes.com if you want to get a little bit more of a detailed description of the race. But in the Scholten race, they're saying that they are preparing to recount the vote if it's razor thin. They also have got a final digital ad with Scholten saying it's time for new leadership in both parties, calling to replace both Nancy Pelosi and, very interestingly, Paul Ryan. So, I mean, they're talking about replacing both leaders in both parties. They're not something you see every day from a Democrat. On the Senate side, the Trafalgar Group, is a Republican firm, has a new poll out on the Arizona Senate race that shows the Democratic nominee Kristen Sinema slightly ahead of the GOP candidate Martha McSally. This, again, as I said before, is very important because this is going to be the one big race that the Democrats need to take control, or one of the four big races that the Democrats need to take control of the situation here. Like, that's what they need. For more details, we can look up, just check out any site, New York Times 538. They got the latest forecast in the Senate and the House if you want to go that far. Trump has 3 campaign rallies scheduled. 3 p.m. he heads to Cleveland with the Republican governor for Ohio, Mike DeWine. At 6:30 p.m. in Fort Wayne, Indiana, with the Republican nominee for Senate, Mike Braun. And 10 p.m., Cape Girardeau with the Republican nominee for Senate. In Missouri, Josh Hawley. And that time he will be out with Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity. That'll be his final rally. Back in New York, if Claudia Tenney is not the Trump family's favorite member of Congress, she's high on the list. On Monday, Donald Trump Jr. and Kim Guilfoyle will headline a rally for the upstate New York Republican. He is the 4th member of his family to appear in Trump's district, following President Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump. A New York Times Upshot Siena poll Sunday showed that Tenney and the Democratic nominee Anthony Brindisi are running virtually even. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we can help push Anthony here across the finish line. Interesting to find out a little bit more about him. And, yeah, let's see what Brindisi's got to offer. He is running, he's running for the 22nd District, upstate New York, providing great public health care. He says he pledges to fight any and all attempts to privatize a public education for corporate gain. Like that. He says he believes in access to good health care. So he is not for Medicare for all, not great. He also wants to grow the economy, protect Social Security, Medicare, and big on the environment. Opioid epidemic. He also talks about campaign finance laws, which is good. Women's rights, he also mentions, and common sense gun reform, which is also pretty cool too. So sounds like a pretty good guy. Definitely go out there. Definitely support and contribute him on his website, brindisiforcongress.com. That is BRINDISI, if you feel so inclined. No one's pushing you to do anything, though, because it is a very tight race. So it may be worth your time to investigate a little bit. If you are focused on Democrats winning in the House, about 30,000, more Republicans than Democrats have voted early in Florida as of Sunday afternoon, according to state statistics. Ron DeSantis, the Republican candidate for governor, thinks this bodes very well for him. And it does make sense. 30,000 more Republicans at the site. I'd rather be me than him, he said of his Democratic opponent, Andrew Gillum, speaking to reporters in South Daytona, Florida. He started a huge reservoir of dedicated election day voters for Republican as well. So that could be interesting. See how that turns out. We don't know yet. Gillum sees things differently, telling reporters in Miami that he was not concerned. The hard part is look at Democratic versus Republican leaves 80,000 of independents, no party affiliates. We believe we're leading in that category. We also don't believe the Republicans who voted will be voting for all the Republicans who voted will be voting for Mr. DeSantis. I think we'll get some fair share out of it. Which is, to me, it's a very dangerous assumption. It's something that Hillary Clinton assumed last time. She thought, like, the more moderate Republicans will vote for her. No, they'll turn to vote for Trump. That's kind of how it happened. Republicans, they fall in line forever. Like, national Republicans, people like Donald Trump, like, they will always have at least 40%, or like 38% of their population completely under their control. And that's just something we need to understand. So that's gonna be interesting to see how that turns out. Like, what I think though is much more likely is independent voters turn out for Gillum, because he seems to be a little bit more of a more exciting candidate. People who maybe are not always motivated to vote both on the Republican and Democratic side, like, they actually, once they see a real aggressive candidate fighting for change in Florida, saying all the right things, and pretty much not just a continuation of whatever Rick Scott is, but a little bit more weird and racist. Like, once they see a guy like that, I think it could be very, very impactful. So Tom Malinowski is the Democratic candidate running in against Representative Leonard Lance in New Jersey's 7th Congressional District. By the way, we have a guest coming on tomorrow who worked in that campaign. So he actually worked in that campaign on the Tom Malinowski side. But his campaign volunteers are getting headaches. Tom's are for Bob Hogan. Maybe we can ask him about that. Interesting. One of Malinowski's volunteer organizers, Lacey Rozowski, lives on the same block as Hogan in Summit, New Jersey. On both days this weekend, her house served as headquarters for canvassing efforts for Malinowski in the town. Hundreds of people streamed across the lawn and then out into the neighborhood of supporting Malinowski. And Saturday, the turnout was so overwhelming, the police had to temporarily shut down the block. Malinowski shared the news with Hogan's opponent Bob Menendez, the Union County Get of the Vote breakfast, noting that Senator Menendez will like this story. We had 500 people come to one house to canvass, Malinowski said. It shut down the block. Here's the fun part. It was Bob Huggins' block. Boom! Roasted. Malinowski is the 8-point leader over Lance in the Times upsets the end of poll. It's likely to flip. It was obviously, again, a originally Republican-held seat. So, yeah, very interesting stuff there. That is a little bit of a fun one, definitely. So that's pretty much how it stands right now at the moment, as we got you probably the last midterm update we will ever do on the show before the midterms. It's been fun doing those stories, that's for sure. All right, anyway, just a few weeks ago, Caesar Sayoc Jr., as I'm sure you know, he sent 15 pipe bombs to prominent Democrats, starting with the liberal billionaire George Soros. To many on the right, Soros is a less than human being than a force. One they have been told over and over again is helping destroy the country, and all the whole deal. They're literally going to come. He's literally going to set off a tornado with all his billions, a tornado of money, and take you away from your house, lift you up from your McDonald's, and you'll never see it again. But Fox News, a major driver of paranoia around Soros, who features prominently in conspiracy theories believed by mainstream Republicans, hardcore NSM light. Is there any difference anymore? We do not know. But Soros is a Hungarian Jew and a Holocaust survivor, never seemed to appear on Fox News to rebut the wild claims that their guests made against him. And personally, I don't know if I would want to. Like, it had to be a certain person. Like, it had to be someone who would, like, not yell at me or not just be like, okay, whatever. Like, honestly. Like, it had to be someone, like, in between the aggressive nature and the just plain dickishness of Tucker Carlson and the, like, pure incompetence of anyone on Fox and Friends. And it's very tough because each one is really one or the other. Maybe like Hannity, I don't know. I haven't really seen him shout at anyone in a long time. But maybe he's calmed down a little bit. But I don't know. So, today Soros' representative told CNN that the reason hasn't been his lack of interest. Patrick Gaspard, the president of Soros' Open Society Foundation, said Sunday night the real reason Soros isn't gone on Fox is that the network refuses to have his boss on the air. Even after the tragic Pittsburgh shooting last week, the network continued to air interviews about people making just crazy anti-Semitic claims about Soros. This includes the idea that Soros is somehow being funding the caravan of displaced people. And by the way, that was a president's theory as well, believe it or not. It's currently making their way. The army coming to invade us, of the army of women and children